Hey guys, this is Gabriel Lorenzi, creator of the blog Grupo Dicas, one of the biggest travel blogs in the world, and today I'm here to talk to you about step-by-step instructions for how to plan your entire trip to Portugal. They are useful, good tips which will help you to save big and put together your trip in the best way possible. So pay attention here to the video, guys. Give us a like if you like the video, subscribe to our channel which helps us a lot, and buckle up. Well, many people have the dream, the desire to visit Portugal, which is a very beautiful and cool country, principally for those who speak the same language and the same climate, so people end up opting to travel there. There are many ways for you to put your trip together. One thing that you influence it depends a lot from person to person and the route. There are some destinations that are very sought after. The principal city is Lisbon. There is no other way to say it. It's destination number one, so you have to go there, and our tip is begin with Lisbon. Lisbon is the main tourist point in Portugal, and there you find some options. You can do everything without staying there for a bit. There is Porto, that's about 3.5 hours by car from Lisbon. It's close. In the middle of Porto, there is Fátima, which is a sensational city for those who are Catholic or religious or want to visit a sanctuary. It's a sensational place to spend the day at. And there are the Algarve beaches, which are very beautiful. They are sensational. They are there at the bottom of Portugal. They are also about 2 hours away from Lisbon. By car, you go down and there is an Algarve beach trail, which is very beautiful. So first you have to decide where you would like to visit in Portugal. The first time we went, we spent 12 days. We opted to not visit Porto, considering how much we like the beach. We focused more on the beaches of Algarve, so we ended up going to Lisbon. We stayed there 5 days. The city has many things to do. It's very cool. I recommend that you stay a minimum of 4 days in Lisbon because there are many things to do. We stayed 5 and found it to be a good amount of time. We went down to the beaches at Algarve and stayed another 6-7 days there. 2 days in the city, 3 days in the other. We end up going to 3 cities, and it was a sensational trip. We opted to go to Porto for the second trip, but the majority of people end up going to Porto first. They want to go to Lisbon and Porto, which are the two most popular destinations in Portugal. So think about it, define your first route, and now we'll change gears and talk about planning the trip step by step. How can you put together your trip step by step? Everything you need to think about: accommodation, airline tickets, transportation, food, and tickets to all of the attractions. We'll give you some tips on how to put together your entire trip yourself in the best way possible and the most affordable way too. This video will be similar to the one on how to save big on your trip to Portugal that teaches you a lot. Let's go. The first item that you have to consider for your trip is the airline ticket, which you have to buy beforehand and in order to kick off your trip. So our tip is research all of the airline companies. There are many trips to Portugal. The main airline is TAP, which offers the most flights. There are many flights taking off from all over the world, mainly going to Lisbon, to Porto. There are some as well, but generally the most affordable are to Lisbon. So try to begin your trip there where there are cheaper airline tickets. We used a price comparison tool for airline tickets, which is very good. I'll leave the link in the description here in the video, underneath the video if you access it, with all the other links that I'll mention here in the video, the tools that we use to help you save big and plan your entire trip. So we utilized it. It searches all of the airline companies and finds the best price, so you already start off by saving lots. Some quick tips about airline tickets: the evening flights are more expensive because people prefer them. You fly all night while you sleep, and when you wake up you'll be arriving in your destination in the morning. So try to see if there are day flights that are cheaper during the day. Sometimes there can be another flight with a layover that's a bit cheaper. To Portugal it's difficult to find generally, but it can happen, so do your research in these items. One cool tip that seems like nonsense but helps a lot is if you drink water in restaurants, you save money. How does it work? Water in Europe, it's equal to that in the US. If you arrive at the restaurant and order a water, they will bring you a bottle of water that's very expensive. It can cost up to 7 euros. If you convert it into your currency, you see it's very expensive. If you drink water every day, one or more, if you are with more people, you will end up spending a lot. What many do not know is that in Europe, it's customary to drink water from the tap because it's treated. People drink it, it's normal, there's no problem whatsoever. So when you arrive at a restaurant, you can order tap water, which is water from the sink faucet, and you will get a big cup filled with ice, just as refreshing as from the bottle, but it's free. Generally it's on the house, and you will save a good deal of money at the end of the day. This holds true for the tours too. Always take a bottle of water and keep filling it up, because sometimes there are drinking fountains and you can use it to fill up your bottle, and the water from the places you visit is expensive, which is generally not advantageous for those who are visiting from overseas. So every time you purchase water, it will be 3 or 4 euros for one water. It ends up making a big difference, so pay attention. And talking about the restaurants, try to always eat a bit away from the touristy areas. Sometimes you go, for example, the Belém Tower in Lisbon. There are restaurants that are around that are very expensive because they are for tourists. Sometimes you walk 5 minutes from there, get away from the tourist zone, you pay a cheaper price at a restaurant which is also very good but offers a better price point. This is the same for souvenirs. If you're going to buy a souvenir, a magnet for the fridge, all the things that we like to bring home when we're traveling, leave the tourist zone, don't go close to the tourist spots. There's always a lot of stores. They take advantage of the tourist area, and if you be able to get a better deal with cheaper prices. Another tip for you to save is on shopping. Lisbon doesn't have many malls or stores for shopping, but there are some and the price is cheap. But if you'd like to buy many things, one tip is you to go to an outlet mall which is close by called Freeport. It's close to you there, you can go by car or there's a bus that takes you there. It's very cheap. If you are wanting to buy many things, it's worth it. You'd spend an entire day of your trip, but it's very cool. There's all of the stores we look for, so check out the outlets that are close to Lisbon or Porto if you are there in Porto, because you will end up saving a bit more on your shopping. And the same rule applies for souvenir shops that we had mentioned about restaurants. It stands for the stores too. All of the more touristy streets, points that have many tourists, are more expensive. The more you can distance yourself from them, the better it is for you. The second item that people don't know about is that travel insurance is mandatory for almost all of the countries in Europe, including Portugal. So purchase a travel insurance plan, it's very easy. For those who don't know, travel insurance is a package of coverages for medical assistance, orthodontal, and loss of stolen luggage. So if you travel overseas and need to go to the doctor, be admitted to the hospital, suffer an accident, or your luggage was robbed, or something of the sort, travel insurance will cover it all. It's mandatory. In order to enter Europe, you have to have medical insurance of more than 30,000 euros. So don't get scared because the insurance isn't expensive. One plan for medical coverage is this value, which is medical assistance that we recommend you use. You pay around $30 for 10 days of use. It's very cheap considering all the coverage it offers. We found this price via a price comparison tool for travel insurance. We'll leave the link here below. It compares all of the rental agencies and can find the best price even compared to the official insurance broker. So check it out and you save a lot on your travel insurance. It's mandatory. You have to get this. Another important point for those going to Portugal is where you can save the biggest part of your money. It's where you save the most money, because there are items that don't offer such good savings, but for car rental it's possible to save a lot. If you will only be staying in Lisbon, there's no need to rent a car because everything is closed. You can do everything on foot, get an Uber or a taxi. But if you were to go on some trips that are sensational in Portugal, going to Porto, going down to Algarve, go to Fatima, Allies, it's highly recommended that you rent a car. We rented one. The highways are very good. It's very easy to drive there. The experience is very cool for you to experience, to see the other countryside towns. We ended up renting a car. There's also a price comparison tool for all of the car rental agencies. We most like this tool because they find the best price guaranteed. They do the work of looking on various rental stores to find the best prices, so there's no mistake. It's the best price guaranteed. We ended up renting one for 10 days. It was very good. It was well worth it, so check it out. The tip is try to rent the car as early as you can. The accommodation, the airline ticket. Generally speaking, the earlier you buy, the cheaper the price will be. As the trip approaches, the stock of hotel rooms, cards, etc., it gets more limited and they begin to raise the price, so the tendency is to get more expensive. So try to reserve as soon as you can. The price is one of the cheapest in Europe. The car rental in Portugal is cheap, the gasoline is cheap, the accommodations are inexpensive, so you won't have a large cost for this. And give preference to larger rental car agencies. There are many small ones that are cheaper, but we always choose the big ones. There's Alama, Eurocar, Six, $350, Hertz, and Budget. Alas, there are many large rental agencies and you will be able to compare between them. Try to avoid the smaller ones and you will avoid any potential problems you may have. We had a not so good experience by using a rental agency that was smaller and had the cheapest price in Italy, so from now on we opt to always use the biggest agencies for security. Now, a very cool tip related to the car rental is the GPS, because the rental agency offers GPS. If you want to rent the GPS for the car, you pay around 5 to 6 euros a day. It's high value, so it's not worth it, so don't rent the GPS. And then there comes the tip about the internet. For you to use the cell today, the international roaming is the worst thing. You pay a fortune, it's not worth it, it's an absurd difference. You have to buy the international chip. It's a prepaid chip for you to use just on your trip, and voila, there's a very good chip that we buy for a very good price, and it's practically the same as buying the chip there. You receive it at home quick in a few days, and you put in your cell, arrive there, and you can already start using the internet as much as you like. It gets great services in all places. We used it in various places in the country and it worked really well. At the beach, we highly recommend it. So you buy this chip and pay less for it than you would if you rented the GPS with the car rental agency and you use your cell like a GPS. It works really well. It works on the highway, the signal is great, and you end up using it for the rest of your trip to post on social media, to talk with people, find addresses. It's very good and it's well worth it. So buy the internet chip for you to use and don't rent the GPS from the car. I'll leave the link for the chip to those who want to check it out here in the video description, and together with all the other ones that I'm talking about during the entire video. Just take a look and see what you like. And speaking of transportation, principally if you go to other countries in Europe, the train functions very well. We used it a lot when we went there. So if you're going to rent a car or not, if you're in doubt, if you don't want to rent a car, you want another methods of transportation, check out the trains because they work really well, principally from one city to the other. There are many trains from Lisbon to Porto. If you want to go to Spain, to Italy, to anywhere in Europe, you can. The train's very fast and you don't need to check in as you do in the airport where you have to arrive 2 or 3 hours beforehand. Just arrive 15 minutes before the train is scheduled to leave, enter the train directly, it's much faster, you can sleep, it's very good. There's a service bar, the train is very good, so research it as well. So if you know where to go and visit how to get there, it's better for you to use the train. There's a price comparison equal to others that also does comparisons. It's the biggest price comparison tool for train tickets in Europe. We'll leave the link here underneath as well. It compares the route and the price of all the train companies, so you'll find the cheapest one as well. It's the biggest and it's very trustworthy, so it's super easy for you to buy and travel around via train in Europe. Principally, if you go from one country to another, sometimes it's even cheaper than an airplane ticket if you end up traveling in more comfort with a bit more peace. You can enjoy the trains very good. Now, speaking of the tours, Portugal is a place where it's possible to save a lot on the tours. There are some places, the principal tourist points, that you have to purchase a ticket. There's no other way, but there are many cool things that you can see walking on the streets. There are many tourist points, architecture, cool buildings, lookout points. There's in Lisbon many lookout points, which they call viewpoints, which are very beautiful. You can see the entire city, squares, gardens. There are many things that you can enjoy during the day that don't cost a thing. If you like the beach, go to Algarve. The beaches are very beautiful. You end up spending the day at the beach. You don't need to spend with tickets to attractions, tours, entrance fees, nothing. There are many cool things that you can do for free in Portugal. And the tours that are paid for, then you have to buy your tickets, which there are some that there's no other way. In order for you to visit the Tower of Belém, it's necessary for you to buy a ticket. The Castle of St. George, the monastery, which is beautiful. They're in Lisbon as well. The Oceanarium, that's fantastic, especially with children. That's right. Another cool tip for you to save, however, being honest, you won't save much because the margin is small. It will be a tiny savings, but it always helps. Knowing how to exchange your money, generally the euro for those going to Europe will end up being a little cheaper. It's not possible to negotiate much because the profit margin is very small for the currency exchanges, so it's very difficult. What we always do is research one or two of the principal currency exchanges. Ultimately, there is one that always has a better exchange rate. We have one that's super trustworthy, so we always exchange with them. It's done via internet and they deliver to your house. It's super easy, but you can research around 2 big trustworthy exchanges and see which has the best price. Try to negotiate, but generally it's not possible to get much. Our tip is to try to take the major part in cash, because by you taking cash you won't pay the exchange rate fee. You exchange the currency into euros, go there and use it without paying the additional exchange fee for the credit card. There's also the prepaid card that's very good. It's very cool. You get at our currency exchange, they give you a card that's either MasterCard or Visa, which are accepted everywhere. You put money on the card in euros, so you put 1,000 euros on the card and use it as if it were a credit card, but it already has the euros loaded on it, so you have control. There's an app that you can use to follow the activity on the card card as you use it. It's more secure, you have a better control over your spendings, and you pay the rate of the euro from that day that you actually make a purchase. Credit cards have the same taxes as these cards, but it happens that you purchase something on the card and the exchange rate fee will appear at the end of the card's billing cycle. It's possible to change these rules, some banks have changed it and others no, but it varies a little and the exchange rate variability is generally greater than the prepaid card. So our recommendation is what? Try to take $1,000 or euros in cash. We don't like to walk around with a lot of cash because it isn't very secure. You are afraid of losing it, getting robbed and being stressed, so take around 1,000 euros in cash. The rest we take on credit card for security reasons. We like to accumulate miles, so it's worth it. We end up using it a lot, and a little bit as well we use the prepaid international card because of the taxes and the better control of purchases. It's cool. The currency exchange we always use has a link that I'll post here in the video description as well. You enter there and can see the exchange rate straight away. You can exchange your money to cash or get a prepaid card. So I want 500 euros in cash and 500 on the prepaid card. They deliver to your house. It's very trustworthy, so you don't have the problem of going to the actual physical currency exchange, leave with the cash on your person, walk around worried and take unnecessary risks. So it's much easier. We highly recommend it, and you save a little with these tips. It's not a big of a savings, but it has some savings, and every little bit helps a little when you're trying to save on a trip, especially an international one. Another point to save a lot is on the accommodation that ends up being one of the biggest expenses when traveling. In Portugal, the accommodations are not expensive. Lisbon has many hotel options. It's one of the places with the most hotels in Europe, so you end up having many options to choose from and the prices are not very expensive. There's a tip that we always give, that is if you choose a hotel a few blocks away from the tourist area, the price for the hotel becomes more affordable. But in Lisbon, we don't think it's worth it because considering that everything is very concentrated, you can do everything on foot by walking, it's worth paying a bit more and staying in the tourist area there, which is well located. It makes a difference. It's a cool experience. We put together here on the site that we always use to research hotels, which is the largest site in the world that has the most hotels, best prices, and we like it a lot. We put together a map. We could personalize it with the area that we find to be the best located in Lisbon, which is an area that we already stayed as during the times that we travel there and stay close to everything. So I'll leave the link here below. If you click on it, open it, and just put the dates of your trip, it will show you all the hotels that are available in the area you want, with all the filters that we like turned on and we always use, which is 3 stars and above, and hotels with customer review from 8 above. Between 8 to 10, it's guaranteed that you stay in a very good hotel in that location. So see the hotels that appear, any of them will be good options. See which is the most affordable, which is having a sale and locking your price. This is another tip. That's why we like this hotel finder. It has a deal with almost all the hotels in the world for free cancellation for the client. So what you do upon entering there and finding a good price, lock in your price and reserve it right then and there, because the cancellation is free. And generally, the earlier you reserve, the cheaper you pay. If you leave it to the last minute right before your trip, the prices will go up. So even if you're not sure, enter there, make a reservation and guarantee the price. When it gets closer to your trip, you can look again and see if there's a better promotion at the time, which is unlikely but not impossible. You can cancel because the cancellation is free. You won't pay anything and you get the best promotion. So you have to pay a lot of attention to these prices. The free cancellations can be a great ally for those traveling abroad, especially international. So that's it, my friends. I hope you liked this video. If you like it, give us a like here, subscribe to our channel, which helps us a lot, and follow us on social media. We are always traveling the world trying to show the tips in a fun and laid back way with our routine and our little one. I'll leave the playlist with all the other videos on Portugal here off to the side so you can plan your trip correctly. The videos are very good. Don't miss out on watching it. I'll leave them here. So that's it, my friends. Thank you very much for watching and happy travels to you.